Not all competitors are created equal. Today on With Purpose, we are going to be talking about separating the competitors that just annoy us from those that Simon Sinek calls worthy rivals, the ones that make us better. With Purpose is the podcast where we take a minute to learn, reflect, and then plan our week ahead so that the time that we invest in those to-dos and projects is time well spent, and that we're working on the things that truly matter and make a difference. So let's dig in. On this episode of With Purpose, like I said, we're digging into this idea that Simon Sinek has about worthy rivals. He talks a lot in this book, The Infinite Game, about the idea that business is not something we win or lose, but that we compete in over time. And the game of business never ends. We might have finite competitions, like we're going to pursue a project for our company, and we might win or lose that, but the game of business, it never ends. And so we have lots of concepts in this book, which I highly recommend, that go along with that. And one of those is this idea of worthy rivals. Said more plainly, there's competitors that we have that make us better, and there's others that are just annoying, and who we focus on makes a big difference, right? And so I'm sure in your business, you've got examples of the ones that are just annoying. Like they are constantly copying what you do or throwing shade your way. Paying them any attention does you no good. On the other hand, there's a different set of competitors that Simon calls worthy rivals that truly make us better. They challenge us. So let's talk about what that looks like. The first thing he says about competitors that are worthy rivals is that they share our values, right? And so we're approaching the industry from the same place. That's going to look different for different industries, but at the core, probably there's a care for customer service, there's a belief in integrity and honesty, there's things that you share with those competitors that you can respect in them. And because of that, when they do things a little bit differently, it challenges you to think differently about your industry and think, is that something you should be doing or not? Flowing from that is the second thing that he says about worthy rivals is that they challenge us to truly think differently about our industries, and that pushes us towards places of innovation and growth. Standard competitors, they want to keep you playing the game the same way that you've played it for forever. They don't challenge you to grow. They don't challenge the industry status quos. Worthy rivals keep you on your toes. Another thing he says about worthy rivals is they force us to look at ourselves. So if we are going to be unique in the marketplace, we have to look at our own set of values, our own processes, our own way of approaching our customers, and make sure that it is unique in the marketplace. Standard competitors want everything to look the same. That's how they compete. Worthy rivals understand that it's worth standing out and offering something slightly different so that our customers have choices. Are you offering something slightly different in your organization, or are you trying to compete based on the same set of standards that all of the rest of your customers are competing on? And then lastly, our worthy rivals, they're going to be around a long time. Because they are companies focused on purpose and values just like yours, they're going to find success in the marketplace, and sometimes they're going to win some of those short-term battles that you have with them. Sometimes you'll win too. That's okay, and all of that is good. What this does is it forces us to think about the long term. We aren't going to get mired down in the short-term wins and losses. We are going to think about the long-term game. How are we positioning ourselves to win this month, next year, in 10 years from now? How are we building our company's culture and purpose, our values? How are we separating ourselves in terms of the value proposition we offer to our clients over the long term so that we can still be in the game a decade from now? So that's a really short summary of this idea of worthy rivals from Simon Sinek. I would encourage you to read the whole chapter in his book because, frankly, he does a way better job of explaining this than I am in this short and truncated podcast about worthy rivals. So now let's shift into our planning time for today. First, as always, Start with some gratitude. What's gone on this last week that you're grateful for? As a reminder, we have a special planner for each of our episodes available for you to download, either linked in the show notes or available on my website at benhutton.com. For each of these questions, we are going to give you about 30 seconds to process them. If you need some more time, just hit the pause button. Next up, take a minute and write down those things you just need to get off your to-do list. You've been putting them off. You know what they are. Write them down and commit. And finally, let's get to our 2 questions for today. Let's apply what Simon says about worthy rivals to our own organization. First question, as you reflect on the past few years you've had in your organization, who sticks out as a worthy rival, and can you identify a couple of different ways they've made you better? You know, this might be hard to think about and hard to admit. This idea of our competitors making us better, of us finding real value in our competitors. It's challenging, but ponder it for just a minute. Second question. What competitors or distractions are you currently giving thought or energy to that are not helping you improve? And how can you redirect that energy this week? You know, some of the people we call competitors are just only that, distractions. What they do has no bearing on what you are doing. Just ignore them. Who's that for you? All right, well, thanks for joining me this time on With Purpose. I hope you enjoyed learning about Simon Sinek's concept of worthy rivals. I would encourage you actually to check out the whole book, The Infinite Game. It is excellent, truly excellent. I've read it 2 or 3 times. He reads it himself on Audible if you want to check it out that way. Highly encouraged. Thanks for joining me this week on With Purpose. If you like what we're doing, hit that like or subscribe button and share it with your friends. And I will see you back here next week.